Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of GHOODI Talks with me, Tyler Whitfield, and of course, our host, Mr. Bruce Gilmore slash GHOODI. Following up our last conversation about Caitlin Clark and the Women's NCAA Championship, as well as the subsequent wrap up of both the men's and women's championship tournaments, GHOODI and I will be discussing our thoughts on the tournaments, as well as doing a little bit of compare and contrast between the men's and women's college leagues. So thank you for listening, and let's get into it. The thing on most people's minds right now, it just kind of wrapped up, but a lot of people still talking about it, a lot of buzz, is the men's and women's NCAA championship games that just happened. You have any thoughts on those just off the bat?
Oh man, Jehudi need to talk about those because what we saw there, we saw the women enthusiasm pick up. The numbers show that they got more viewers than the men, and a lot of my friends was like, "Wow, why is that happening?" I saw a lot of excuses, meaning that they were saying that a lot of the college superstar college athletes on the men's side are being one and done.
Mm,
They're leaving out. They're gone. And you see a person like Caitlin that sit there 4 years and build a reputation and build a good fan base where those men are heading straight to the pros.
yeah.
So I think c'est la vie. That's how it is sometimes, But that's an opportunity for women's sports. It's a lot opportunity for people to get interested in women athletics. Women in general, man, they're like on this plane upward, man. And I want to, like I said in the last episode, man, I want to go for the ride, man, and just be a part of their journey, man, because we're seeing something spectacular happen in our lifetime.
Yeah.
So, you know, bravo for the men. I still love men's basketball. Bravo for South Carolina winning. Man, that team is a monster team, man.
Yeah.
God,
Seriously.
I always was wondering if I was going to even have a chance with that team, and they went tit for tat.
Yeah.
And
No, I mean, I would have loved to see Caitlin Clark, the whole Iowa team, but especially her get a ring. But
yeah,
I don't know. I
well,
mean, she still set like 3, 4 records her senior year, so it's not too much to complain about.
no, but and then since we're talking about that, let's bring up the GOAT conversation. Most GOATs win championship, and
Yeah.
I said last week that she's one of the GOATs. She could be one of the GOATs,
Hmm.
and she is. She leading in scoring, leading in assists in NCAA. She is going to be a GOAT. But when we talk about the GOAT, that's TBE,
Yeah.
as Mayweather say, the best ever. Generally the GOATs have the championship ring to go along with that. There's
Hmm.
no doubt in my mind that one day she's going to get it in the WNBA. But how can you deny her that status with all the stats that she has? It's just for us as a society, when you say the GOAT, TBE, the best ever, Jim is a championship. So I'm not worried about Caitlin. Caitlin's going to do just fine. And she is the best right now at her level, the college level. So we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see.
No, I mean she's like you said, she's gonna be fine wherever she ends up. She's got just immense talent. Just there's no real competition for her at her level, like you said. But I want to double back to a distinction you made earlier between the
But
men's and women's game, where you talk about how it's something you see a lot more, and it's become very, very visible recently between men's and women's, is that the men play for a year or two, develop a little bit, but the end goal is the NBA. Women's basketball, you don't have the same pull to the WNBA that you have to the NBA. So you have players like Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, who are staying pretty much their whole time at school, and they're developing, they're playing, and they're getting that attention because they're making that commitment. I
right.
think it's going to be interesting to see how they develop and what their next steps are. I mean, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark both declared for the WNBA draft. So they're shooting for that angle right now. I know Clark also had the what was it, the big three offer?
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
think 5 million. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be
Well,
fine where
my thoughts on that is that, sometimes the worst thing is sometimes the best thing. What I mean by that is that it may have been worse for college sports for us to see one and done players that especially on the men's side, play 4 years
Hmm.
and, and give us excitement on the college level. But it may have been the best thing for women's sports because where's the attention being focused on now? Women's game used to be boring, used to be dull. I used to hate even watching it because it was no excitement. It was no fun. Now
Hmm.
these girls are going behind the back. They're dunking the ball. They're doing fast break. They're shooting 40 points in a game. They're shooting at the half court. And it's exciting because they're still there and develop their skills over 3 or 4 years. That guy to come out of high school like a LeBron James and go straight to pro and make an impact, I would have loved to see him in college,
Yeah.
but I love him in pros too. So it's a double-edged sword for GHOODI Talks. It hurt us from seeing the great high schooler going to college and playing 4 years, but look what it has done to women's sports. And yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword, losing the high school players to pro, but it also helped the women athletics, women program, women interest. Yeah, the women had more viewership than the men
Yeah.
NCAA final.
Yeah.
Come on, you don't have to be a genius to do that math.
I'll
I can
tell you, I watched the women's final. I didn't watch the UConn Purdue game. I tuned in for a couple plays, but I didn't want to just watch Zach Edey play his game
why?
and then
Why did
I'll
you?
just one Zach Edey is one of the most boring players I've ever watched. I
Okay.
can't stand to see him play basketball. And two, like I was pretty confident UConn was going to win it in that matchup, so I just didn't really
Yeah.
feel inclined to watch for the Iowa USC game. Like I kind of figured USC would win, but I figured it was going to be a good game, a good matchup with kind of a lot of back and forth, which it was. It was far more entertaining to me.
What about your stay? I'm gonna flip the script a little bit. I'm gonna interview
Yeah.
you. Karasi, what do you think about what she said about Caitlin moving up to the pros, the WNBA? That it's a different game for her to move up that next level. Sure, she was great and maybe the GOAT in college, but it's like she was saying she's gonna be playing with grown women right now. What do you think about that?
I mean, I
Can
think
she
it
survive? Can she do well in the WNBA?
I think it's tough to make a prediction on that
Okay.
because I definitely agree it's a different game. It's the same difference between college basketball and the NBA. You see plenty of players who do phenomenal in college, have amazing careers, but get to the NBA and struggle, and they're a sixth man or don't even
Yeah.
never see play time.
Oh, yeah.
But then on the other side, you also get players who suck in college, and then they get to the NBA as like a low draft pick, and they just ball out. So
Yeah.
I think it's really tough to make that prediction. I think, and her play style, and I think more than anything, her drive, like the amount of effort that she puts into getting better, I think that's gonna give her an edge on the competition at least. I
Yeah.
don't think she's gonna be a bust. I don't think she's gonna be the GOAT in the
Okay.
WNBA, but maybe in time, maybe with more development, maybe she could be.
Shooters are going to shoot. She's going to
Yeah,
shoot. I think they revealed some of her Achilles heel with tough interface defense.
yeah,
She's got to develop her speed and her quickness, her agility, and her strength to fight off these tough defenders.
hmm
That girl Raven, got up in her, man, stayed all on her, and she still scored 30, and we're acting like she had a bad game.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. I mean, that is a bad game for her. Only 30.
only 30.
Yeah,
They still thinking about Jordan and LeBron. You
yeah.
know, uh, that girl is going to be tough to shut down, but it's going to be interesting to see if Jordan body changed after he played against Detroit and they beat the living crap out of him. You remember, I don't know if you saw the transformation of his size, his strength. He developed his body to take those kind of beatings and he became the strongest. I see Caitlin doing the same thing. If she put her mind and body to work at her craft and seek to improve it. My biggest fear is a girl like Caden is going to have so many money opportunity to grab money that she may take the money, and I hope she doesn't because this country, this NBA, this world needs to see more of her in sports,
Mhm.
and so that's the Hootie version of it. So.
Thank you for tuning in for this week's episode of GHOODI Talks. Make sure to come back next week for our next discussion, and we'll see you then.